Hello, everyone. Sorry, I thought that needed an intro. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this double bill reflection where we reflect on Titanic and Avatar, a James Cameron reflection. Yes, I'm joined by Harry Thomas. This is going to be a very special hangout for him, as these are his two favorite movies of all time. So, yeah, I'm sure that Harry, you're going to take a lot of pleasure in talking about these two films.
Hell yeah.
Well, I'll be goddamned. So yeah, let's I mean these movies aren't obviously linked to each other, but you know, actually in terms of like the chronology of Cameron's movies, Avatar is the first film he directed after Titanic. Is actually the only film he's directed after Titanic, and yeah, he hasn't done a he doesn't seem to do his films very often. There's a lot of gaps between his films, I've noticed.
Yeah, I think Avatar 2 has been confirmed for 2020 at the earliest.
Yikes, that is 11 years after the first one.
Yeah, but that's how long they take to make, apparently.
Wow, maybe he must be really throwing everything in the kitchen sink in that. We will talk more about the Avatar sequels at the very end. Let's begin with Titanic. So, Titanic. Fun fact, Titanic is actually as old as I am. Yes, I'm 20 years old, and I have aged with this movie. Obviously, I was too young to go and see it when it came out because I was a baby. Although I did see the 3D re-release in 2012, I'm not going to lie. And it was pretty impressive to see it on the big screen, I must say. So I'm going to hand the mic over to Harry. Harry, this is a very silly question, but what do you think of James Cameron's Titanic?
I freaking love it.
Fuck yeah! Only joking.
Yeah. Near, far, wherever you are, you can never stop loving Titanic. Titanic is one of the greatest cinematic landmarks and masterpieces ever made. This is why James Cameron is my favorite movie director by far. I mean, so many people say he's overrated. I say bullshit. He is literally the king of the world, as he calls himself. I mean, he just all of his movies, he just makes.
I mean, to basically put a pun in this, he pretty much sailed that ship right to the very end, and it was really something special.
Yep, exactly. He sails the ship, and he made it something special. I mean, he just makes every movie he makes just epic and perfect.
No sign of Arnold Schwarzenegger though. Imagine if Arnold Schwarzenegger was cast as Cal.
Oh, Arnold Schwarzenegger, yeah, that would have been.
Half the people on the ship are gonna die. Not the better half. Get down.
yeah, that would have been cool. I guess Arnold only wanted to do Terminator in Cameron's world, and that was it.
He wouldn't have been right for the role anyway. He's not American enough.
Oh, it's true, actually, and I just think. I just think this movie is. I think the movie is absolutely beautifully shot. That replica of the Titanic, that looks like the actual Titanic in real life. James Cameron just got it perfectly. I mean,
he did his research. I'll give him that. He really did do his research, and especially as you actually see the wreckage of the in the beginning of the film, when you see the explorers going underwater. Can I ask you, Harry, did they actually go to the actual wreckage, or did they just recreate that in a set like underwater?
Well, I think that was the actual wreckage. I would think it would be, but yeah, that opening is really special. Actually visiting the actual Titanic, and James Cameron,
the one use of archive footage when you see the people waving, and then it fades to the shot of the sea and it has the title that comes up. I thought that was a nice way to open the film.
Yeah, that was a beautiful intro. That really made me cry. That intro with the black and white footage of the Titanic and the transition.
People forget too easily that this was real. This happened. I mean, you know, people get so wrapped up in the fictional characters that they kind of forget that this movie, or the event of this movie, actually happened. And it really is, even to this day, it's still horrible to think those people are still at the bottom of the ocean.
I know it was it I know it was terrible thing that it was terrible. Like, I can't, yeah, I can't imagine what it must have been like to have actually been there. And that's what James Cameron does. He respects the event. He's paying tribute to those who were on the Titanic in this movie.
I mean, I think he's actually created something that, I mean, the second half of this movie, the way he directs it would pretty much be as close as you could probably imagine to how the actual event would have been.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually how it went down, apart from Jack and Rose not existing, obviously. But everything.
Yeah, at that point, you kind of forget it's a film. You're wrapped up in the tension and the emotional situation. You kind of, other than the fictional characters being there, you kind of feel like when you see them clambering for the boats, you're like, oh my God. It feels like you're there. It really does.
Oh God, yeah.
I'm sorry for interrupting. I do apologize.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah. He made it as real. Yeah, it felt as real as it possibly could. People criticize this movie for including a fictional protagonist and a romance, but I don't mind.
I mean, you need someone to carry this movie, and I think to do it with a character who would have been based on a real person would have been disrespectful, in my opinion.
It would have been, I mean, it would have been, yeah. So the only way they could have respectfully done that was by making up Jack and Rose. This movie's not a documentary. Yeah, haters forget it's a dramatization. It can be just slightly different. Yeah,
it's actually interesting how it's told, the narrative, because of older Rose telling the story to the explorers. At the beginning, it's really heartbreaking. You know, seeing her remember the ship and then remember the incident, and you can see her tearing up, and I find that really sad. And then when she goes into her monologue, you know, it's been 84 years, it's like, oh wow. And then you literally, it's show don't tell. She narrates only like 2 scenes, the rest of it you're just shown, and I think that's powerful.
I agree. I 100% agree. The scenes with older Rose are some of the most heart-wrenching movie moments. It's her remembering the day she was a lucky survivor on that disaster, and she lost the love of her life, and it still affects her even 100 years later.
The only thing I didn't like about it was like the whole fact that obviously I know obviously, you know, it had been a long time, but she remarried to someone else and had children and grandchildren, but I still believe that to that day she was still in love with Jack. I still don't believe she fully moved on. Maybe that's just me, but would you agree?
Yeah. Well, she always truly loved Jack, obviously, but I'm glad she remarried and had kids and grandkids, because she was basically moving on with her life to honor. She promises him before he dies that she will never let go.
Yeah, and then she did. She let him fall into the ocean.
True. pretty much. Yeah, and I think the actress who plays old Rose is mesmerizing here.
Gloria Stewart, and she's actually passed away now, obviously.
Gloria Stewart. Yeah, Gloria Stewart's amazing here, as are all of the performances. I love Rose. I think she's James Cameron has always done gender equality in movies better than everyone. He has always given us such strong women in action movies, and Rose is one of them. Yeah,
I think both old and young as well, because you can see they're the same person. Like the way she responds to some of the comments, like when she says, "Oh, you know, do you want to hear this or not, Mr. Lovett?" And then when she says, "Oh, thank you for that, Mr. Bodine," but the actual experience was quite different. Like she's quite sassy, and even then, woman, she's still got a bit of sass left in her after all the time. Yeah.
yeah, Kate Winslet and Gloria Stewart brilliantly impersonated each other. Yeah, they feel like the same exactly, and yeah, I felt. I felt so sorry for Rose being forced to live this upper class life when she just wanted to be free. I love Jack too. He basically makes her life a hell of a lot better, which
I
is
gotta
why.
say though, in realistic terms, he's way too good looking for a poor boy. Let's be honest here.
Well, yeah. how could how could Leonardo DiCaprio be third class? Yeah, exactly. And well,
Yeah.
yeah. But I'm glad
Maybe he spent all his money on one-legged prostitutes.
I indeed. Yeah, and that's why he's third class. Yeah, wouldn't be surprised. And well, yeah, and I'm glad that they both come from separate classes, but yet they both want the same thing, to just be free, and that's why I completely believe their romance. People just bitch about the romance in this movie.
Yeah.
I say, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
It's a completely powerful and believable love story.
I do believe it, but it is cheesy, only because of the dialogue. But their performances are so genuine. You do believe they're in love. I'll say that much.
Yeah, they say, oh yeah, they share, they share the sweetest moments together. I know. People may consider the dialogue cheesy, like when Rose is going, "I'm flying," but yeah, but I and there's another piece of dialogue where Jack says, "I'm the king of the world," but I
I'm the
think,
king of the swingers, oh, the jungle VIP.
yep, oh yeah, it sounded like I want to be like you, yeah, but
Titanic of the apes.
yeah,
You need Caesar to come in. I did not start this sinking,
but I will finish it. Yeah, definitely, but I but I yeah, but I think I think the dialogue is fun. That's what I always think James Cameron's dialogue is iconic and fun, and
Would
yeah,
you say
and
he's a better director than writer?
um I think he's the best of both worlds. I think he's the best director and screenwriter in the movies. uh,
Fair enough.
uh, and yeah, and one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when Jack draws Rose wearing only the necklace.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
I'm
that is
surprised that the film still got a 12. They got
yeah,
away with her literally nude on the couch, and
no, right?
wearing a necklace. Like, and that movie was a 12, and also there's the obligatory sex scene done in the carriage as well. I thought, wow, they're really they're really
Yeah,
going for it.
yeah. I know, right? It's only a 12A. I mean, what the fuck? It should have been a 15. This is not a kids movie at all. And
I guess to be fair though, it is his reward. It's like, yeah, you earned it. You can fuck me now. It's
yeah,
like after she was drawn by him, she paid him, and she thought, I guess we know that they're not gonna, their romance was doomed from the start, so they thought, well, if we never get this chance again, let's
well,
do
yeah,
it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it now.
yeah. At least they got a satis. Yeah, at least they were satisfied with the time they spent with each other while it lasted. And
Can I ask whose hand comes on the carriage? Is it Rose's hand or Jack's hand?
it might be Jack's hand actually, because he's lying on top of her. He's probably the closest to the door. Yeah, and
Rescue me.
rescue me definitely, and I also I think the music by James Horner is one of the greatest scores composed for a movie.
It is
Yeah,
a beautiful score.
It's tremendously epic, and I'm glad that the movie did have a musical score. I'm glad it wasn't silent.
Yeah, because it was originally intended to be like that, but thankfully they decided to get James Horner. Rest in peace.
Oh yeah, rest in peace, James. The yeah, I yeah, even though the second half of the movie is the slowest part, I don't care because I feel we needed that to develop Jack and Rose and all of the characters on the Titanic before the ship goes down,
Oh
but the
wait, sorry.
second half.
Do you mean the first half? Oh right, sorry.
Uh, oh yeah, right. So the people who the people who think this movie's too long, I don't think so. I think 3 hours is the perfect length, and the
Heresy. It's
yep,
not.
yep. I don't have a problem with the length at all. Yeah,
Fair
and
enough.
the yeah, but the second half of the movie is where the movie truly epic when the ship starts sinking. James Cameron did a phenomenal job of
Yeah.
recreating the sinking. I was
It's
the
such a sudden change in tone as well. Like after the sort of like sappy romance where they're like, she's like, when the ship docks, I'm getting off with you, and then oh kissy kissy, and then iceberg right ahead, bang, that's it, and then even the music changes as well, and it just completely goes to shit after that. I mean,
yeah, it goes from a romantic drama to a intense a survival movie and the oh my god, real awesome shit goes down in the second half of Titanic. Oh my god, this is masterful filmmaking, the sinking of the ship. I mean,
I agree.
yeah, the tension is heightened so high, and you're completely on the edge of your seat. So you are rooting for everyone to get the fuck off that ship.
Yeah, yeah.
And if they
Even though there's not enough boats, as we're told earlier in the film.
well yeah, there's lifeboats apparently when there's 2,200 passengers on board. That's ridiculous. That's the reason why so many lives were sadly lost.
Yeah.
Because they weren't prepared enough of if the ship would sink, and yeah the and yeah just I was yeah I feel that Jack's death is one of the saddest movie moments period.
To be fair, though, he probably could have fit on the wood. I think there was enough room.
Well yeah, he could but when he tried to get on, I think it slightly slipped. So he just kept it balanced so that Rosa could stay warm, obviously.
Yeah, it is a
Yeah,
very sad death. Actually, it is.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. And it's yeah, it's I'm glad Rosa does move on to honor her promise she made to him before his death,
Fuck
and
you, Cal.
fuck you, Carl. Exactly. Yeah, thank God she didn't marry her asshole fiance.
Oh
And
God, Billy Zane was such a dick.
oh yeah, I couldn't take him. My God.
And I love the scene when she spits on him. I'm like, yes, fuck him. He deserved that, fucking prick.
Yep. Yeah. He got his comeuppance right there. She could finally stand up to him, and the yeah, and just the I think the final shot of the movie when Rose dreams that she's on the Titanic and has one final kiss with Jack. I think that ends the movie on a perfect and emotional note.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Ceylon Demon's song "My Heart Will Go On" is one of my favorite movie songs of all time. It truly deserved the Academy Award for Best Original Song, and yeah, and this movie at the time it was the highest grossing film of all time, first movie to gross over $1 billion, and it completely fucking deserved to. I will I could sit through Titanic a bajillion times in my life and never get bored of it. So I will yeah forever love it, and and thank you so much, James Cameron, for giving us this a wonderful cinematic experience. And I'm glad they did release Titanic in 3D 15 years later. And Yeah, I am going to give a Titanic fucking-lutely a golden 10 out of 10. Yeah, it's
Oh, -1.
Yep, it's perfect. Flawless.
Excellent. Did you notice any, like, I know some of the characters are actually based on real people. I think if I'm correct, I believe Kathy Bates is her character is actually based off somebody real, and I love her character because she's the only one of the rich, the higher class people who actually is decent. You know, she would go back to say,
oh yeah, she wanted to go back and save the others who were drowning.
Yeah, when she says, "What's the matter with you?" and they all just sit there like they're too stuck up to even consider anyone else. They just want to get out themselves. I mean, and Rose's mother, oh, I hated her. She was so horrible.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. She was controlling Rose's life. I'm glad Rose was a real rebel and had a lot of fight in her to get away from that lot. And I also, and did you also like Berners Hill as the captain?
I did. Yeah, I thought he was good. I mean, he doesn't have many lines, but I think he's a good character because you feel the weight of emotional responsibility he has to the ship. Like, he's so happy because it's his last crossing, and he's so happy to finally get a huge ship, and then it all crashed. It all completely, like, he gives up by the end, and he lets himself die in the sinking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was such a tragic character, definitely. And one last thing I will say, thank God Titanic won 11 Academy Awards, 11 Oscars, including Best Picture. Rarely has a movie deserved 11 Oscars as much as this.
Yeah, although the argument could also be made for Return of the King, which also stars Bernard Hill. He starred in two of the most Oscar-winning films ever.
Yeah, lucky Bernard.
Lucky Bernard. Yeah, I mean, Titanic. As for me, I almost agree with you. I wish I could. I'm sorry, Harry. I wish I could rate this 10 out of 10, but I just can't. It's
no,
I know. Throw tomatoes at me. Let the hate, let the rant come towards me. Let me be crucified. But hear me out.
No, it's your opinion.
Yeah, as I said in my review, I really do like Titanic, but I don't think it's quite as good as everybody says. It is very good, and I can see the effort that has been put into it by James Cameron and all of his filmmaking team. And it was an incredibly difficult film to make. I mean, at the time, everybody thought, what the hell is he doing? This is going to be a piece of shit. Like, it was going to ruin his career. But he did prove the naysayers wrong. I'll give him that. And he did his research.
They look pretty silly now, whoever said that.
Yeah, like, I mean, I think there was like an advanced preview of some of, like, I don't know if it was the first few minutes of the movie, like when the explorers were going into the wreckage, but people were like, "No, what the fuck is this? No, no," and then they were completely surprised by it. I think what he did cleverly was he enticed his audience with that romance. I know, I mean, the romance has been done very well, but it has clearly been used to draw in the fangirls. But, you know, I still think it works. I think the movie's very good. Narratively, I really like the story and how it basically retells, well, it re-dramatizes the event of the Titanic crashing and, well, not crashing, sorry, sinking. And we follow some fictional characters, which I think is fine. I don't see a problem with that, and if anything, I'd rather they do that because it's more respectful to the non-fictional characters. Like I really like the beginning of the movie is a bit slow. I think they could have maybe cut to the chase a bit more. Like the scenes when they're underwater exploring the wreckage, that kind of dragged on a bit, I think. But it was great to see old Rose telling the story, and I love the moment where she sees all of the old relics. that she had, and those obviously come back in the film later on, like with the drawing of her that Jack did. We see that. We also see the mirror, and she says, "Oh, reflections changed a bit." When I saw that in 3D, that got a laugh from the audience, because obviously the mirror's cracked. Lol, jokes. But you can see her trying not to break down by this, because even to this day, an experience like that, no one could forget that. And the way she tells the story, and you can see, like, as we cut back to those people, like halfway through the movie, they're all crying. They've got tears down their eyes. Even Mr. Bodine, who is kind of a bit of an arsehole.
Oh yeah.
With his description of the sinking, that's a big ass, that's a huge ass that's going down. It's like, geez, what an arsehole. He wasn't there. He doesn't know what it was like. And I wouldn't have blamed her if she stood up and said, "Fuck you, Mr. Bodine. You weren't there. You didn't see it." But I mean, he's only a small character anyway. But then we go back in time. And I like this. I think first of all, the production design is incredible. This is amazing. I mean, how the hell James Cameron was able to replicate? It's pretty damn close to what the Titanic would have looked like. I mean, the interior of it, it's gorgeous. It's so beautiful to look at. I mean, no wonder it won an Oscar, for it. And I love the design of this movie. It looks amazing. I mean, 20 years to the day. Some of the visual effects look a bit dated, but that's fine. It's natural wear and tear. It's going to happen. Although the Blu-ray has actually restored some of the effects. And I like the character of Rose, played by Kate Winslet. Although Kate Winslet is now kind of sick of all the Titanic hype. I think she doesn't regret doing it. I just think she's fed up of all the people mentioning it, and it's taken over her life a bit. But I think
actually, she hasn't done many other famous roles apart from Rose. Most of her other movies are romantic comedies.
Yeah, that's probably because of Titanic, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's very good in this film, and you really see. I think she's actually the best performance. You really see her emotional struggle, the fact that she feels trapped in her life. The fact that she's wealthy doesn't matter. She's surrounded by a bunch of pricks, her mother included, who don't understand what she's going through, and she feels like this is it. All she can do is suicide. Kill herself. The way out. It's tragic to see that, and it's interesting how her and Jack meet as she's about to go over the edge and kill herself.
Good thing Jack got there in time.
Yeah, it's a good thing he did. It's funny, later on she says, "Oh, Jack, this is where we met," and it's like, oh, they're about to die in the same place where they met, which is kind of ironic. So that was good foreshadowing from James Cameron. And I really like Jack as well. I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio, he's very good. He's just a nice guy. I mean, he doesn't want any trouble. I mean, as I've said, he's way too good looking to be a peasant, let's be honest. But hey,
yeah.
This movie needed a lead star to be in it, so they just could have gruffed him up a bit more. They could have made him look like his hair looks too good. Let's be honest, his hair looks way too good. I mean, obviously for the dinner scene, yeah, that's fine. Keep him the way he is. But yeah, I just think his normal look, his hair just no. I'm sorry, I'm being picky, but that's just devil's in the details. But it's a minor complaint. Anyway, the romance that builds with them is lovely. I think the romance is very sweet and it's very believable. You do believe that they do love each other, and he's trying to set her free from her oppressed life, and he allows her to be herself, allows her to do what she wants to do. Like the scene when he takes her to his real party, as he says, it's lovely, and it always puts a smile on my face when they're dancing around, and she's like, "Oh, you think you're a big tough man?" And she's standing on her toes, and God, that must hurt. I mean, I love seeing them grow closer, and and they really fight for each other towards the second half. Like, she goes down to rescue him. He's always coming after her. I love the moment where she goes on the boat and she's looking up at Cal and Jack, and then she decides to jump back on the ship to go to stay with him. And then he's like, "What are you doing? You're so stupid, Rose." And then she's like, "You jump, I jump." Oh, I thought that was sweet. And their romance is lovely. It's so. I mean, yeah. The only thing I would say is the dialogue is a little bit cheesy. But other than that, it's fine. I just think the whole like, oh, I'm flying, like, oh, come on, Cameron, that's a little bit corny. I just think the dialogue in general can be a little bit corny, like, oh, I'm the king of the world. Oh, I'm flying, I'm flying, Jack. Oh God, I don't know. Like, I mean, Cameron, I don't think he's a bad writer. I think he's a better director than he is a writer. I think his writing is fine, but I just think his dialogue can be quite cheesy. This is a thing that occurs in all of his films, I think, but that's just an opinion. I think most of the dialogue here is actually fine. I think it's just in the romance where it's quite prominent. And
it's still better than George Lucas's romantic dialogue.
Yes, if you can call that a romance. Yeah, no, it's better than Anakin and Padme, let's be honest. I don't know whether George Lucas took inspiration from Titanic to write this love story.
Maybe.
Anyway, oh my God. But, yeah, anyway, I think Billy Zane is a dick in this movie, as I've said before. He plays his character really well. Cal, he's this wealthy American man. It's interesting how at the end of the movie we discover that he basically has lost everything. Well, he did all right for another few years, another 10 or so years, but then the Wall Street crash broke him, and then he killed himself. Seemed like he loved his money more than he loved anyone else. And I love how he's like trying to throw his money at everybody to try and get himself off the ship. And then there's that not soldier, the sailor who says to him, you know, your money can't save you more than it can save me. I think his name's Murdoch. I believe that guy is actually a real character. And from what I heard in reports, correct me if I'm wrong, Harry, but his family were insulted by his death in the film. They thought that it was insulting how he just kind of shot himself. They thought that was a little bit insensitive.
Oh, really?
Apparently, yeah. I mean, I've only heard this. I can't say if it's true, but I assume it is true. And they weren't particularly happy, like, because he shoots somebody, and then he shoots himself. I don't know if that was how it actually happened in the event, but they thought that was a little bit too that way. They thought that Cameron went a bit too far with that, which I can understand. Yeah, it is a little bit drastic. All the deaths are really quite sad. I mean, I think the first half of the movie is fine, but it's weaker than the second half. The first half of the movie is good. I like it, but I think it's too long. They spend too long on the romance. They spend too long building up to it. I think in the first half an hour, that's where you could have lost some of the footage. I think this film would have been better if, like, at least half an hour could have been cut out of this film. This movie's 3 hours 15 minutes, and I'm sorry, I just think it's too long. I think.
Boo!
Oh yeah, I know, crucify me. I'm sorry, but it's in my opinion, I just feel that some of the first half an hour is a little bit unnecessary. Like, we don't need to have so long of the explorers looking through the wreckage. You could have cut that down by a few minutes. But for the most part, the pacing's pretty good. I think the second half of the movie is where the film really takes flight. There's a sudden dramatic turn, and the ship, the emotional gravity just skyrockets. And you see everybody's trying to go on in an orderly fashion onto the boats, and then everybody's clambering on the boats, and they're all trying to. I think Fabrizio at one point tries to cut the rope on the boats. Everybody's just trying to get on, and even Cal like steals a child in the corner and to get on the boat. He's like, I have a child. She's all I have left, and he's such a dick. Like he would use a child to save his own skin. That's just sad. And oh God, he's so horrible. I find it strange how his henchman is an old man. Is that just me? Like Lovejoy, I find him weird that he's an old man.
Yeah, that's a bit odd. You'd think it would be somebody younger.
Yeah, I do like the scene when he's chasing Jack and Rose, and then she sticks a finger up at him, and she's like, "Fuck you," and
Oh yeah, and
yeah. And obviously they framed Jack for stealing the heart of the ocean, which obviously Rose doesn't believe that. when he says, "Oh, this is horse shit," you know, and they lock him up, but you know, they chain him down below, and there's a lot of I think what's interesting about Titanic is also the cultural aspects, you know, how society was in those days. The upper class were just always socializing at parties, well, not parties, like dinners, and they were talking about stock exchange and all of that malarkey, whereas the lower class were just trying to fend for themselves, you know, and you know, fight to survive, really. And Jack obviously was very lucky in winning his ticket, and it's interesting to see how, you know, Jack gets a taste of her culture and she gets a taste of his. I think the dinner scene is really good. It was actually one of the scenes that was the most impressive in 3D, funnily enough, just because of the way it's shot. There's a lot of people on that table, and I love it because of the way that we see how the upper class look down on the lower class. With when Jack says to them, "I won my ticket at Titanic on a lucky hand at poker," and then Rose's mother says, "Do you find that sort of rootless existence appealing?" And Kathy Bates' reaction to that, it's like, what? Why did you say that? What? Like, I just think it's so great. Like, I think Cameron really nailed it. Like, his research into this was amazing, not just in the sinking, but in the actual the time. You know, this was 1912. You know, society was very different now. I mean, Rose was only marrying Cal because her mother and they were desperate for money. And he was wealthy. So they needed financial support, and that was the only way they could get it. I don't know what exactly happened to Rose's father. Apparently, I think he died. Is that what they said? Or
I think her father's dead because he's barely mentioned.
Yeah, I think they mentioned him once, but I can't remember what happened to him, whether he left them or whether he died. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, he's not really prominent in this film. I also quite like the chase scene when Cal gets the gun out of Lovejoy's pocket and he tries shooting Jack and Rose. He's chasing them through the ship, and then he says, "I hope you enjoy your time together." And he accidentally leaves the the diamond in the coat, which Rose takes, and obviously we see her wearing it when she's older. And the end of the movie is great because it's like her letting go of the whole experience when she throws the diamond in the sea. I love that. I thought that was beautiful. It was like her way of letting go of Jack, moving on. And the dream at the very end is nice when all of the characters are there and then they have one last kiss, and then it's all very sweet. I mean, I think it's lovely. And there's some great scenes with Jack and Rose, like the scene when they're spitting, albeit disgusting. It's kind of sweet. And there's just so many great moments. I also like the captain, Bernard Hill, is great. I think who was the other one? Oh yeah, Mr. Andrews, I believe, is the guy that actually built the ship. And you feel like, oh my god, you must feel so bad for the guy, because when it all goes down, I think he kind of, in the back of his mind, he kind of knew it wasn't ready to set sail, but he didn't realize it would go this badly. So he was ruined after that, I guess. I love the band actually in this film. They're great because, as I said in my review, there's another film called When the Band Kept on Playing, which is about those guys and how they kept the atmosphere going when the ship was at the sinking. Even though nobody was listening to them, they decided for the better to keep everyone calm, even though it wasn't working, to just carry on playing. And I thought that was lovely. And there's a lovely moment when Cameron uses this for emotional gravity to intercut this with shots of people and there's no sounds, it's just the music and the shots, like when the plates fall down, and you see the old couple on their bed and the husband kisses his wife. That shot is just, oh, that breaks my heart. And when the Irish mother is telling her kids a story, oh, that's beautiful. And when Mr. Andrews, he's just leaning by the fireplace, looking down, and the glasses are falling on the floor. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And the death scenes are very sad. I was actually kind of sad when Tommy and Fabrizio died. I thought that they were quite good characters. especially as Fabrizio was the guy that came with Jack. So it's like, oh, it's a shame. But a lot of people die. And I actually like, I can't remember what the fuck his name is. Ion Grufford or whatever the fuck his name is. Him, Mr. Fantastic. We'll just call him that. He comes in like in the third act of the movie. He's one of the sailors that actually keeps everybody in order. He maintains a sense of control. I love that, and he's the one that sees Rose. He's the one that kind of saves her life, really, I guess. When she's blowing the whistle, and they take her on the boat. I thought that was very good. I just think it's a great film. Like, there are so many wonderful moments, and James Horner's score is masterful. I think the score is absolutely brilliant. It's beautiful, it's intense, it's emotional, it's everything you could want. I think Jack's death is really sad as well. I love the scene when Rose basically rebels against her mother and Cal when she says goodbye to them, and I love the line when Cal says to her, "You're going back to him to be a whore, a gutter rat? I'd rather be his whore than your wife." Oh, that was great. What a comeback. And she spits in his face. So he finally got his comeuppance.
Yay.
He finally was free of them. Yay. I think at that point they knew, oh yeah, it's over. That's it. It's all gonna go. There's no way she'll stay with him. And just the way that the emotional gravity rises in the second half, and it is spectacular seeing the Titanic go down. And Cameron makes you feel like you're there. It's real. It's not a film. It's real. That's what it feels like to me. This is where the movie's at its highest. When you feel that emotional weight of the situation, it feels like you're there. You're like, because this actually happened. People lost their lives. They died. And Cameron recreated this so brilliantly. But a few minor problems in the first half prevent me from giving this a 10 out of 10. So I'm really sorry. I have to give this one a really strong 9 out of 10. It would get a 10.
What?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. It would get a 10 if they just fixed the first half just a little bit. I still like the first half. Don't get me wrong. I still really like it. It's good stuff. But I just feel that the second half is much better. And I love the way it just suddenly changes. The movie just changes so much. There's some great scenes as well, like when Jack and Rose are trying to get out from the lower cabins. Like, you know, the scene when they see the guy and he drops the keys and he leaves them. It's like, and there's the guy that tries to take Rose out, and then she's like, "Listen to me," and then she punches him in the face, and he's like, "The hell are you?" It's like, oh my god, you can't blame her for getting all emotional, because I mean, she's been oppressed all of her life by her mother and all the people around her, and nobody's actually given any thought to what she said. So no wonder she punches the guy in the face. It's a normal reaction.
She rightfully got rebellious.
Yes, and this movie won 11 Oscars. And as for the Celine Dion song, it's absolute cheese. But that being said,
what?
If it's going to be cheese, then do it well, and I think it does it very well. It is a very good song. I think it's very well done, but I do think it's kind of cheesy, just like the lyrics and everything. But it fits with the film, and it definitely complements the love story very well. I'm not saying cheesy in a bad way, but I mean, it's emotional, but I just think the lyrics kind of speak cheese to me. But again, I don't mean that in a bad way. I prefer the song at the end of Avatar, but we'll get to Avatar in a second.
Well, glad that you were still really like Titanic. You're definitely more generous to it than some others I've seen.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are on the Titanic bandwagon with you, but some people hate it. Some people don't like it. I can't understand that. I mean, it won 11 Oscars, so surely you've got to see something good in it at least.
I'll say, I've never understood why so many people think it's overrated nowadays. Probably just because it was so successful.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say that it's like one of my favorite movies ever. I mean, obviously I can't because I've given it a 9 out of 10. But like Return of the King is my favorite movie ever. And I mean, I only have one nitpick with that movie, literally one thing that I question, which is why the hell do they cheer for Frodo and not Sam? Like, Sam's done most of the fucking work, and he you know saved Frodo from the Nazgul in the Two Towers, saved him from Gollum, saved him from the spider, carried him up the fucking mountain. You know, like, what more does Sam have to do to get credit? But you know,
that shocked me that they cheered for Frodo and not Sam. I suppose because the other Fellowship weren't there when they didn't see Sam do all that greatness.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, they knew that he went off with Frodo though. But anyway, that's, you know, apart from that, I love that film. Anyway, let's move on to Avatar. So, Avatar, I mean, this is a bit different to Titanic. I think it's worth a bit of background on this movie. This was actually an idea that Cameron had for a long time. He'd actually written a script before Titanic, but he realized that the technology wasn't there for him to do it. So he abandoned it and just shoved the script in a drawer for years, and he then made Titanic.
He even got the inspiration for Avatar, I think, when he was in high school.
Yeah, so he's obviously had the idea for a long time. And I think after he'd seen, after films had come out, such as like Lord of the Rings and stuff, I think, and technology like motion capture was swimming into focus, a lot of possibilities to make the film were swimming into focus. And he then decided to pursue it. I think in 2005, that was when he said, yeah, I'm going to do this movie. He decided to go through with it, which is great. And here we are. And it took him about 4 years to make it. And I think it wasn't the most expensive movie ever made, or is that?
It was at the time.
Oh yeah, not anymore. I imagine like The Force Awakens is probably the most expensive movie ever made now.
Probably.
Yeah. So I think it was a lot of I think 2 of the 4 years were figuring out the technology. And obviously he had the script and he had the story, so all they needed to do was just, you know, figure out how. And he was inventing these 3D motion cameras as well, so inventing all of that and then casting the movie and then getting it. The production probably was I think it was a 2-year process. There was actually a lot of deleted scenes that were cut from the movie. I've watched them I've got the collector's extended Blu-ray, and there's like at least 45 minutes to an hour of deleted scenes, some of which are very interesting, some of which I understand why they cut. But anyway, I'm going to hand the mic over to you, Harry. What do you think of James Cameron's Avatar?
Well, Awa has heard me. Avatar.
Great timing there.
Thanks. Avatar is my favorite movie of all time.
How dare you?
I think it's better than every other movie ever made. There I said it. Yes, slightly better, marginally better than Titanic. James Cameron officially tops the highest-grossing movie of all time.
Which was his own movie.
Which is his own movie. I know nobody has been able to surpass him at the box office. He's done it again.
Does it better?
Exactly. Just the first time I saw Avatar back in the cinema, it was the first movie I ever saw in 3D.
Yeah.
And it was it was one of the best moments of my life. I will never forget seeing it for the first time. I mean, while this movie received rave reviews at the time and was praised as the highest grossing movie ever, many people now sadly consider it overrated. But
even at the time, some people disliked it. Well, they didn't hate it. They just thought it looks great, but the story was unoriginal, which I disagree with personally. But fair enough.
I completely disagree with that criticism. I'm with you. Yeah, I say fuck the haters of this movie. They don't know a great movie when they see one. Clearly, just I mean the I mean the I mean, Avatar, obviously, the biggest thing to praise about this movie is its absolutely groundbreaking and phenomenal visual effects.
It is a visual masterpiece.
Yeah, visually it's the best looking movie I've ever seen. I mean, James Cameron put his heart into the look of this movie. It's revolutionary technology without the landscape of cinema and 3D
I don't
movies
actually know how the sequels are going to top this. To be fair, in terms of the technical side, I don't know how he's going to top it, because we've seen it once before, and technology has advanced in by the time it comes out, it'll be like 10, 11 years since this movie, so it's going to be hard to top it.
Well, yeah, it will be hard to top it, but I have faith Cameron will pull it off, because he's always developing and changing technology, and
I think he's always been like that. Like ever since he's done Terminator, like when he did Terminator, Aliens, and Terminator 2, he's always trying to push the boundaries of technology. But unlike George Lucas, he doesn't compromise the story. And
oh yeah,
he actually cares about making a film and not just a technical demo, if that makes sense.
Yeah, right. Definitely. George Lucas just really developed technology with CGI, but James Cameron did much more than that. So, yeah, he, yeah, yeah, oh yeah, though. I mean, Cameron's earlier movies, Terminator and Alien and Titanic, definitely pushed the boundaries of technology, but Avatar just goes above and beyond with that. And Pandora is my favorite movie setting ever. I wanted to go to Pandora when I saw it. It's extraordinarily looking.
People complained about Spy Kids 4D having the aromascope thing. I would have loved to have a aromascope for Avatar. I would have actually loved to have smelt everything, and just to be there, to go on the journey with Jake, and to go on the actual planet would be amazing. Just to smell everything, see it, the textures. It's so colorful. I agree with you absolutely. It's amazing. I mean, I wouldn't say it's my favorite movie setting, but I would say it's one of the best. It looks. I mean, the imagination of it is amazing.
Oh yeah, it's unmatched, and now you can actually see it, because James Cameron has recently opened in Disneyland in Florida, Pandora: The World of Avatar, the attraction.
Yes, I actually have a couple. I had some friends that went there recently, and they posted about it on Facebook and said it was pretty good.
Lucky them. I'm so jealous they got to see it.
It was happening.
Yep. So yeah, how did James Cameron imagine this beautiful world? I'll never know. And he not only the world, but he imagined all of the creatures, the Navi's culture and beliefs, and
he literally knows the back of the world and from the back of his hand, inside out. I mean, I watched the behind the scenes on the extended Blu-ray, and he talks about how he developed the ideas, and everyone else said, "Oh, Jim, we run it by Jim." Jim would say, "Oh no, they wouldn't do this. The creatures would do this in this way." So he literally has been developing this most of his life. People actually forget that sometimes an idea sparks way before it actually swims into a script. I think and think that is the case with Avatar. And I think the plot is original. I don't think it's unoriginal at all. I'm sorry. I disagree with that criticism that people say.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's completely original. Exactly. Yeah, I absolutely love the protagonist, Jake Sully. I really related to him because he's a disabled guy, and once he enters the body, of an avatar, a Navi, he basically gets a new life that he's never experienced
I
before.
loved his story. I actually think it's Sam Worthington's best performance in any film, in every other film I've seen him in. He's crap. So
Yeah, I agree. This is by far the best role he's ever done. I mean, yeah, Sam Worthington has been a mediocre actor in other roles, but here,
he kind of plays himself.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But yeah, he does play himself in every other role. But here, he's awesome. Here, he was meant to play Jake Sully, and Natiri is she is the best female character in any movie and my favorite character in the whole film. She is the biggest badass ever put on screen, and Zoe Zadana is absolutely
back off, Ripley. Here comes Natiri.
Yep. Oh yeah, I absolutely love her romance that she gradually establishes with Jake. How at first she hates him, but as he gets more immersed in the Navi's culture, she kind of admits to liking him, and
and he to her as well.
Yep, exactly. So then the romance felt entirely natural, and
he also learned how to mate with a Navi. I mean, he was told to basically learn everything. So.
Oh yeah, when they mated for life under the Tree of Souls. Yeah. Yep. And Quaritch is my favorite movie villain. Stephen Lang is absolutely
what the fuck?
Yep, I think he's the best movie villain. I think Stephen Lang is absolutely amazing here, and I love his dialogue. You're not in Kansas.
This guy was Biff from Back to the Future Part 2.
Pardon?
It's hard to believe that Quaritch is played by the same guy who plays Biff in Back to the Future.
Oh yeah, that was back when Stephen Lang wasn't as big as he is today.
Yeah, in terms of an actor and in terms of his size.
Oh yeah, he definitely put on some buffer for this movie, and I think I love his dialogue when he's like, "You're not in Kansas anymore. You're on Pandora." He's not only is he the most intimidating villain I've ever seen, he's a complete.
These dumb bastards ain't getting the message.
All right, let's turn up the heat. That's how you scatter the roaches.
That's how you scatter the roaches. He has some good lines.
Oh yeah, he has some of the best lines, and he's not only is he legitimately intimidating, but he's an absolute genocidal piece of shit. He's a villain you love to hate. He's basically aside in the movie when he's wiping out the Navi and he threatens all life on Pandora just to bring back unobtainium.
I mean, as much as a dick move as that is, I mean, Selfridge and Quaritch, they give Jake 1 hour to try and get the Navi out. Obviously, it doesn't work. So they are sympathetic to a point, but then it's like, no, we're taking extreme measures, whether they're there or not. So, yeah, there's a real dilemma, and I think Jake's dilemma is very interesting in this film.
Yeah, well, yeah, true. Definitely, he's torn between who to be loyal to. His own race or the Navi, but obviously he chooses the Navi because he's had a better life with them, and exactly he can walk. Whereas on Earth, he didn't have much of an existence, and
his brother died, so he was kind of lonely as well.
Oh yeah, his brother was killed, so yeah, he didn't really have anybody. But with the Navi, he met Natiri, and so yeah, you completely believe his motivation to fight and stand for the Navi's rights, and I also. And as for the other supporting cast, absolutely love them too. Sigourney Weaver is terrific as Grace. And
I was annoyed they killed her off though. That was a bit of a shame.
Well, yeah, because Grace was, yeah, Grace was so lovable. She was basically, well, she translated English for the Navi. She,
She was like the mother character, not just to,
yeah,
but to all of them. Like, and actually, I love the extended cut because it explains how Grace formed a relationship with Neytiri and Neytiri's sister, who was mentioned to have been killed by the RDA in an attack at the school, which I thought was really interesting. And I was surprised that they cut that out of the theatrical release because that adds so much to Neytiri's character, why she's so uptight, and also adds much more to Grace to show that how, even though she's so, as caring, ultimately she is working with and for the humans. So naturally, all she's doing is going to backfire. I thought that was great. I mean, would you agree?
Well, I do agree. It does explain a lot. So I am glad it was cut from the movie to improve the pacing. I do still prefer the theatrical cut because the theatrical cut for me is definitely easier to watch and flows better. And yeah, and yeah, okay, and yeah, and I think Grace's healing scene was powerful.
Oh,
oh yeah, that's
samples.
Yep. Yeah, that was heart-wrenching stuff. And I also I enjoy the character of Trudy, played by Michelle Rodriguez. She was really fun.
She always seems to play a tomboy.
Well, yeah, like in Fast and Furious, yeah.
I mean, she actually, to be fair, she's pretty good, and I was shocked when she died. That was a shame. And when they all just start dying at the end, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, that's one thing that shocked me about this movie. I mean, James Cameron kills off literally nearly all the characters. The body count's so high, you really feel the stakes in this movie. And yeah, that's one thing people really overlook about this film. And obviously, score is the best. I think this is the score for Avatar is the most epic score composed for a movie.
I've actually got the score on my iPod. I think it's a wonderful score. The music I fell in love with since I first saw the film, and like especially during the scene when the home tree is destroyed. That was powerful.
Oh god, the music in that. Oh god, the music there's sensational. Yeah, and definitely, and yeah, I've been listening to this soundtrack for ever since the soundtrack came out, and can never get it out of my head. And just yeah, the first half of the movie is a bit like Titanic, where it's dedicated to developing the characters, which I think works perfectly. Yeah, but the second half of Avatar is when the war for Pandora starts, and things get epic, and shit goes down. I mean, I think the destruction of the home tree is one of the saddest movie scenes. Period. Oh boy, I was
so many Na'vi died. Yeah.
So many of them are just slaughters in front of our eyes. Yeah, you're just like in that one moment. Screw the human race. I am fighting for the Na'vi. I'm willing to die for the Na'vi.
Yeah.
And obviously, well, the final battle of this movie is electrifyingly epic. It's the perfect way to conclude this movie. It's my favorite movie action scene of all time,
it was always going to end in a final battle. I think it was always building to that.
Yep, and it didn't disappoint at all.
I agree, and it's actually quite a long battle as well. It goes on for at least 20 minutes, I think, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's literally the last half an hour of the movie.
Yeah.
Which was a justified length actually.
After so long of build up, I think you didn't need it. You needed it to be big and explosive. I mean, and the way it starts is incredible. Like when they come out of nowhere, they start shooting arrows, and then it's like it's in the sky, and then Jake tries to destroy the aircraft, and then they go down on land, and Neytiri comes in, and the rhinos come in. It's just so big, and it's so epic, and then they all die. I mean, actually, Sute's death is sad as well. Although, actually, in the extended cut, he dies differently. He actually gets a death scene, and Jake kills him. I thought that was powerful.
Oh yeah, I've seen that scene. That explains what happened to him after he fell. But in the theatrical cut, when he fell, I always assumed that he was dead there. But I mean, Zute. I almost forgot to mention Zute. Yeah, I do love him too. How he starts not trusting Jake or warming up to him at all, but as the movie progresses, realizes Jake is the only hope the Na'vi have now.
Sute was like the one who was meant to be the leader, so he's like the jealous boy.
he's jealous of he's jealous at Jake at first, but eventually they do come together, and another and goodness knows how long it must have taken to actually film and put together that final battle. God, technically
it's the whole movie.
Standing, just the whole movie. True, exactly, and before the battle, actually, I think the build up to the battle is absolutely perfectly handled when Jake makes that speech like the sky people send us a message. They can take whatever they want, but we will send them a message that this is our land.
Oh, that's great. And the music's awesome when they're like recruiting clans from all over the planet. That's amazing. I also love a scene quite early on when Jake and Neytiri go into the tree, and like it's the first time she's flying, and she says when you're ready, and then the music, just beautiful, and all you're seeing is the landscape and her flying. But it's amazing. It's like, how did they do this?
Oh yeah, the cinematography there. Oh my God, to die for. And that's an awesome moment too. And and also even the moments when Jake finally gets to fly himself. That stunned me when I first saw that.
Shut up and fly straight.
Fly straight. First, he told it to just fly there very stupidly, and
shit.
That took my breath away. And the final fight between Neytiri, Jake, and Quaritch on the ground is so freaking epic. Where Neytiri is on the Fantor and she's Quaritch, but then he stabs it with the knife repeatedly, and then
come to Papa.
Oh yeah, and then he just brutally murders it, and then Jake shows up, and then Quaritch is like, nothing's over while I'm breathing. Kind of hope you'd say that. And then they get into a tussle, and Quaritch gains the upper hand, and he's about to slit Jake's throat. So, geez, how was this movie not rated 15? And then Neytiri kills Quaritch. I love how it's Neytiri that kills Quaritch instead of Jake.
Jake never wanted to fight Quaritch, but Quaritch refused to listen to reason. So Jake was forced to take him on.
Exactly. Quaritch. Quaritch would not negotiate, so they didn't have a choice but to fight. And then Jake's there's a super tense moment when you think Jake's about to die, but then Neytiri gives him the mask at the last minute, and he breathes in all the air.
They killed off everybody else. You can't kill off Jake.
Yeah, you can't. You can't kill off the protagonist now, Cameron. That's just too far.
And it's lovely because it's actually the first time she finally sees him in his real body.
Oh yeah, that was sweet when she finally sees the real Jake. And
I think that's a lovely message as well. Like the whole idea of "I see you." The phrase is that they use. It's that it's the, you know, what's inside that counts. You know, whether you look like an avatar or whether you're human, like you choose where you belong. You know, and then it's about the person inside that determines who you are. And Jake inside is a Na'vi, you know, and I think that's beautiful. I think that was a lovely message.
Exactly. It's exactly. It is who you choose to be. That counts. And that scene perfectly portrayed that. And yeah, then the the movie ends on a cliffhanger, which sets up Avatar 2 when Jake finally becomes a pure Na'vi himself, and I just remembered I would love to go on Pandora, but I remembered because I'm human, I'd have to wear an oxygen mask all the time because the air on Pandora is not breathable for humans, and
unless you have some kind of avatar.
oh yeah, unless you become an avatar, exactly.
Well, actually, Harry, can I ask you, what did you think of Norm? And also, what did you think of the scene when Jake first enters his avatar and he's running across the field in the lab?
Yeah, that was really yeah, that was really yeah, that was a really yeah, that was a yeah, that was a great moment to see Jake quickly fall in love with his avatar body, and completely surprise everyone how quickly he adapts. And yeah, I agree that that's a brilliant scene. And yeah, the end credits song by Leona Lewis, "I See You," is my favorite movie song ever. It got robbed of an Oscar. It should have won Best Original Song.
I actually prefer it to Celine Dion's "My Heart Will Go On." Sorry, I prefer it to that.
Yeah, yeah. I probably say that "See You" and "My Heart Will Go On" are probably on par. But yeah, I do. I understand. Yeah, in fact, yeah. Uh, so thank you, James Cameron. I have no flaws, no nitpicks, and nothing negative to say about Avatar.
Sorry, one last thing. What did you think of Norm as a character, and also Selfridge, Giovanni Ribisi's character as well?
Oh yes. Oh yeah, Norm. Yeah, he. Well. Probably. Well, he probably. Well, he probably. Well, he probably stood out the least of Jake's friends, who sided with the Na'vi, but loved him when he led the Na'vi horse clans into battle at the end. And and Parker Selfridge, oh my God, he's a dick.
He is.
He's basically the Hitler of Pandora. And
oh, the bit when he says, "You know what? You throw a stick in the air around here, it's going to land on some sacred fern, for Christ's sake." It's like he doesn't believe in all the pagan rituals that they do.
Not really. Yeah. I was surprised that Parker was allowed to live. I was surprised he wasn't killed off at the end.
He was just sent to Earth. Actually, the one character that stood out the least for me was Max Patel, the guy that manages the avatars. He doesn't do anything really for me.
Oh yeah, when they escape the RDA, he just stays behind to inform Jake of what's going on.
He doesn't take part in the final battle either.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, he probably had the least to do than the Normo, comes to think of it. But yeah, I still loved him too. So
but also when, sorry to keep interrupting, but when Neytiri's father dies, that was
oh yeah, when Neytiri's father, the chief of her clan is murdered. That, oh my God, that's so freaking sad.
To leave and never come back.
You can't. Well, yeah, in that moment, in that moment, she probably didn't mean it, but you can't blame her. She just saw her father brutally murdered and
Yeah.
her home burnt down to the ground. And just as she explains to Jake when he comes back, I was afraid, Jake, for my people. I'm not anymore.
Yeah.
And yeah, and what did you think of Natiri's mother, the queen of the Navi? I thought she was awesome.
I liked her. I mean, obviously, she's quite, um, uncertain about Jake at first when they first meet him, and she's like, why did you come to us? And he says, I came to learn. She's like, we've tried to teach other Sky people, so she's not certain of where he stands, and then obviously she sets him free in the hope that he is actually one of them and he will help them. But obviously, you can't blame her for feeling quite emotional. I mean, she obviously stays by the Tree of Souls in the final battle. She doesn't get involved. She protects it. So I liked her.
Yeah, yeah,
I can't say much about her, but I thought she was good. I guess.
yeah, yeah. She definitely was more trusting of Jake than the king, and
Yeah.
yeah, oh yeah, and so yes, and I'm, and yeah, I am and I am well astounded that Avatar for 9 Oscars it didn't win Best Picture. It lost to Catherine Bigelow's The Hurt Locker that year. How the fuck did The Hurt Locker beat Avatar? I'll never know.
I don't know, but at least Cameron can talk about that with his wife. They probably had a big row over that.
Oh, oh yeah, because Catherine Bigelow's James Cameron's ex-wife. Oh, oh,
Ex-wife, yeah. I hope
oh,
that wasn't the reason why they divorced.
oh yeah, hope not.
By the way,
But
speaking of Catherine Bigelow, I would encourage anyone and everyone to see Detroit. It's a very powerful film. It's very good.
uh, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, you did a great job with your review of Detroit.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you. Are
yeah,
you planning to see Detroit?
definitely. I will. Yeah, I'll give my review a bit later this year because Catherine Bigelow is one of my favorite directors too, and so yes, so that's pretty much sums up Avatar. It's perfect. It's an amazing, it's an amazing cinematic landmark that it towers over all the other movies in I've ever seen, in my opinion. And I cannot wait for Avatar 2 and the five Avatar, four Avatar sequels that we are supposed to get. So I hope they
Harry,
continue the
sorry,
story.
I just need to go to the loo very quickly. So I'll let you carry on for a few minutes. I won't be long.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I hope the sequels continue the story wonderfully. I just uh, yeah, I have faith James Cameron will be them the best he can do, and and yes, I if of all of the movies getting a cinematic universe, why hasn't Avatar gotten one yet? It's been 8 years since this movie. It's still held up, and there's still no sequel. Well, I understand the script is taking such a long time for him to make, and the effects obviously have a lot of CGI. Uh, so when 2020 comes, 11 years after this movie, a it will be the movie event of the millennium. It really will. Yeah, I know some others don't care about the Avatar sequels, but I'm interested. I'm on board, and if you are on board, awesome. Yeah, just yeah, I could yeah I just will hope to I hope to go to Pandora World of Avatar in Disneyland, Florida, one day to see it for myself, see if it lives up to the hype, and uh, yeah, and just Yeah, right. And after the Avatar sequels, who knows what James Cameron next? It's he may make another Terminator movie or something original. Hopefully, he will do something original because it's been years since he has made an original movie. Yeah, like an Avatar so far is the only movie in the 21st century that James Cameron has made after the only movie that he has followed up with Titanic so far. And oh, hi Ollie.
Hi, sorry about that. It's just when you gotta go, you gotta go.
oh, oh yeah, oh yeah, that's so. Oh yeah, that's okay. Yeah, yeah. I was just saying. I hope the Avatar sequels live up to the hype of all. I think Avatar is the one movie that deserves to be a cinematic universe. Yeah, apparently they'll take place in Pandora's oceans or maybe on another planet.
Yeah.
And a lot of the characters who were killed off in the first film are back to life. And yep.
Oh, that's interesting. I wonder how they're going to do that.
Yeah, who knows? Only time will tell.
Yeah.
Yes, and to address the main complaint with this movie about the story, I think the story is outstanding. I think it's totally beautifully written and original, no matter what the haters say. I mean, it's not just a rip off of Pocahontas or Dances with Wolves or Fur and Gully, as everyone says. I say that are just hating on Avatar because it's popular and they don't understand the real message behind the story. I mean, I think it's saying that James Cameron loves the environment. He's a very environmentalist, and Pandora represents Earth and how beautiful our planet could be if humanity just left it alone and stayed in touch with nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, Avatar's the best movie ever, and it's going to get the easiest golden 10 out of 10.
Woo! Nice. Nice.
Please say it's perfect, Ollie.
No.
No.
It is very good. I think, again, like Titanic, I think I'd probably give it slightly the edge over Titanic. I think I'm due to re-review it because my original review was very long and kind of miffy. Like, I think I want to bump my rating up for it. But let me let me justify myself for it first. Avatar. Now, I think I was kind of obsessed with this movie up to a certain point. When I was like younger, I used to watch it quite a lot, like nearly like every weekend I would stick it on because it was so wonderful, so fascinating.
I don't blame you. It's addictive. I've seen it a million times.
Yeah, and I think I was thinking about rewatching it again recently because I haven't seen it for a while. It's just finding the time to watch it. But anyway, I think over the years my hype for it has died down. So I've not forgotten about it. I've just kind of left it on my shelf. But it's due another rewatch. I really like this movie. I think Cameron definitely showed his filmmaking potential. He can do things on an epic scale. It was big. It's like one of the biggest budgets ever, and I think it's wonderfully crafted. I mean, yeah, okay, maybe the story's a little bit unoriginal, but I don't mind it too much. It would have been nice if they could have, fleshed it out slightly more, but I thought it was fine. Mostly fine for what it is. I like the emotional storyline of Jake, our main protagonist, Jake Sully, played by Sam Worthington. And as I said before, Sam Worthington is a pretty crap actor. I mean, let's be real here. He's not very good. But in this, he is very good. He gives a solid performance in this movie, and it's actually his best performance in anything I've seen him in.
Yeah, he's overlooked in this role.
Yeah, and I think he definitely carries this movie. I mean, particularly as it goes on. I like Zoe Saldana as Neytiri. Zoe Saldana is a very good actress. She definitely throws herself into any role that she gets. Like in Star Trek, she plays Uhura, and she's in Pirates of the Caribbean as well, actually, in a very small role, and in Guardians of the Galaxy. But I really like her as Neytiri as well, and I didn't actually realize it was her until I watched the behind the scenes on the Blu-ray, which I thought was very, very interesting. See, I mean, she's a cool character, and their romance is good. You know, it's fine. I don't think it's like Jack or Rose, but it's certainly a good romance. You can sort of see where the attraction is, and you know they like each other.
Apparently, Neytiri was originally in the original script going to be pregnant with Jake's baby, but James Cameron decided to cut that out at the last minute.
Yeah, probably for the best. I mean, maybe in the second one, but I think for the first one, it would have been an added plot inconvenience. It would have been too much. I think it would have been too much. I think Sigourney Weaver is great as Grace. She's a lovely character. As I said, she's like the mother to all, not just the mother to like she becomes like a mother to Jake in a way. She's always like mothering him and trying to keep him, you know, well fed and looked after. She's like, you got to eat something, you know, take a shower. Jesus, Marine, you know. But she's trying to like say to him, you know, you got to sort yourself out. And you know, she's like, you got to listen to what she says. See the forest through her eyes. Excuse me, this is my video log here. So she's always trying to cut in, obviously, to help him out, which I love the relationship that they have. And is in the extended cut, you see a little bit more of that as well in the scene where she explains what happened to Neytiri and Suwanan, who's her sister. I'll talk more about the extended cut in a bit. The rest of the characters are great. I think some of them are a bit more forgettable than others, though. I don't. Oh, sorry. Look, I think the only one that I really don't care for is Max Patel. He's just nothing. Like he's the guy that kind of sorts out, manages the avatars, but he doesn't do anything. Other than that, he's just there. Like
without him, Jake wouldn't have known that Quaritch was planning to bomb the Tree of Souls if he hadn't have stayed behind at the base.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I know the film's not really about him, so it's not really a major inconvenience, but I just don't think he's very memorable. That's all I'll say. And also, yeah, I mean, I like Neytiri's parents, but they don't really do much. I mean, obviously, they don't really trust Jake at first, but then his mother, well, not his mother, sorry, her mother, believes in him and sets him free. But they don't have much screen time. I would have liked to see more of them, actually. Like, that would have been nice. And obviously, there's a big dramatic scene where Jake reveals, okay, that he knew they were coming, blah, blah, blah. But other than that, they're kind of underused, I felt. However, the rest of the characters are very good. Quaritch is a good villain.
Best villain ever.
I wouldn't go that far, unfortunately. I don't think he's quite as good as you say, Harry. But
what?
I can certainly understand his motivations. He's basically an extremist. I mean, he doesn't really care about anyone else other than himself. I mean, at first he sort of trusts Jake, and you know Jake is doing a good job for him, and he doesn't want to hurt the Na'vi, but at the same time, it's like, well, if it's the only way to get what he wants, you know, he takes extreme measures. And I mean, some of the lines he has is good, and I think Stephen Lang performs them well, but I don't think he's. I think at times he can be kind of. You're going to hate me for saying this. Generic.
No, no, it's okay.
No, I just think because he's basically just a soldier. That's really, he's just like a colonel. But
I think you get his motivation because he's basically just killing the Na'vi and for to bring back Unobtainium to save his people on Earth.
Yeah, I suppose. He's not the most fleshed out character for me, but I definitely like the rivalry between him and Jake towards the last three quarters of the movie. They destroyed the tree. That was nice. It was interesting to see that. Parker Selfridge, he's a dick. He's a good character. Again, he doesn't do much. I don't know. I would have liked to have seen him contribute in the final battle, but he's not a military person anyway. He's just I guess he's basically the investor in this whole thing.
Exactly. He was never meant to be on the front line in the RDA.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's kind of, he appears in a few scenes, but he doesn't do all that much. Sute I really like. I think he's a great character. And obviously he's basically like the jealous prince, if that makes sense. Like, obviously he was meant to be Natiri's mate for life. Lol. But sadly that was taken away from him because Jake couldn't resist putting it in like crazy. And obviously they have a rivalry, and they have a bit of a fight, which is nice. And I like how he patches things up. When Jake jumps on the big red bird.
Oh yeah, Taruk Makto as they call him.
Makto, yeah. When he comes back on that bird to prove that he is worthy of being a Na'vi, and he's so that definitely changes everybody's opinion of Jake. It's his way of saying sorry, for everything. So that was cool. Sute's death is very powerful. As I said in the extended cut, there's an actual death scene when they find him lying on the ground, and he asks Jake to kill him. I'm not quite sure why, but I thought it was very powerful. He probably just felt like there was no other way. He was going to die anyway, and he realizes that Jake is the one to lead the people, and Natiri is mated with Jake, so he thought, well, he didn't have a reason to live anymore. So I thought it was really brutal that Jake killed him, but I guess because Jake is a military man, he's equipped to dealing with this sort of thing. Like, he has to, in the worst case scenario, he would have to kill people, so he's dealt with it before. But obviously this is somebody who's become like a brother to him, so it is kind of sad. And I thought it was a really lovely scene. I was ashamed that they cut it out. But anyway, I mean, let's get this out of the way. I mean, the look of the film is great. The cinematography is just wonderful. I mean, the CGI motion capture visual effects look astounding. Cameron has created a world. You'd have to be pretty cynical to deny that Cameron has created an amazing world. And even to this day, I still look at it and go, you know what? Wow, that is incredible. I mean, and this was 2009. This was, 8 years ago?
Yeah, and the CGI here looks better than some CGI in 2017.
Yeah, and that's just sad. That's just really sad. Yeah. The Emoji Movie cough. Yeah, it's funny. Like, it is. I think Avatar is actually the film to have on Blu-ray. If you don't have a Blu-ray, just get it for Avatar, because Avatar is amazing on Blu-ray. It looks so clear. I mean, you thought it looked great I don't have the 3D Blu-ray because I don't have 3D Blu-ray, but I have the all 3 cuts of the film in the extended box set on Blu-ray, and I think it's awesome. I mean, when it just lights up on screen, and watching it at nighttime is the best because it's in the dark. Especially those night scenes I thought were great. Like when Jake is being chased by the Thanator. I think the action is great for this movie as well. When he's being chased by the Thanator, when he meets Natiri, when there's like all the purple light things. Also the scene by the tree when Jake and Natiri, have sex.
Oh yeah.
Which was a weird scene. I don't know why they extended that. They didn't even need that scene in the film. Anyway, it looks. My point is that it looks fantastic, and it looks even better in HD. If I got a 3D Blu-ray, I would only really get it for Avatar. There's no other film I would rather watch in 3D. I remember seeing it. I actually saw it twice because the first time I saw it, I saw the theatrical cut with my family. We watched it in 3D, and the 3D was legitimately amazing, only because it was more immersive. I thought the world looked amazing. I mean, nothing really flew out at you on the screen, but there was a sense of depth, and it added a lot of immersion. Then I saw it again the next summer in 2010 when they had the special edition re-release, which I thought was very good. I mean, it was long. It was wearing the 3D glasses for a long time, so you kind of felt a little bit dizzy afterwards. But it was amazing to see it again, and with the 8 minutes of new scenes, that was great. And I remember I saw it with two friends, and we thought it was very impressive. And I loved seeing it again. If it was re-released, I would actually go and watch it again in the cinema, because I believe I love the spectacle of this movie. It's amazing, like not just the action spectacle, but the world. Seeing it on a big screen, that's what it was made for. And like the shots you see of like the floating mountains, amazing, just amazing stuff.
That's spectacular.
I actually have to say, I'm surprised, Harry, that you prefer the theatrical cut. For me, I actually prefer the extended cut, the actual collector's extended cut, the one which has like 15 minutes of added scenes. I actually think they've really enhanced the story. Yeah, they do drag the movie out to 3 hours, but I think it's fine. I think it works, because we get a lot of information about the backstory of Neytiri and her sister, and Grace as well, and how Grace feels, the emotional weight of that loss on her shoulders. So she's dealing with that as well, which we never got any indication of that in the theatrical cut. So it's nice that Grace has got some kind of emotional weight to her as a character, and also Neytiri as well. Neytiri is so cold and uptight with Jake at first, but then Jake manages to they fall in love, and she finds a new lease of life. Obviously, we didn't even know she had a sister in the theatrical cut, so I think it's amazing. And the alternate opening I really like as well, when we see Jake on Earth and we see how futuristic Earth looks, and the scene in the bar when Jake he's in his wheelchair and he goes over to the guy that's beating the girl, and he just drags the bar stool from under him and he starts punching him. I thought that was a great scene. It's just like, oh, the disabled guy beating up the the normal guy. It was just a little bit of extra stuff just to show Jake on Earth on his own, the futuristic Earth, and then showing how he actually was told about his brother's death and how he actually gets involved in the Avatar program. Because in the theatrical cut and the special edition, we just open with him in the cryostasis chamber, which is nice, but I still think the added 5 minutes at the beginning actually really do help for me. They really do enhance the opening, and also Jake's background as a character. Personally, for me, I thought they worked a lot better. I liked there's a couple of little other moments where we see extra creatures, like I think the sort of the rhino creatures that we passed them by. There's these little floaty dragonfly things. It was just seeing a little bit more of the culture of it. It was
right. And there's one moment when Neytiri's explaining to Jake about her grandfather who rode, the bigger flying bird Taruk Mukto. That really added some mythology and backstory to this world.
Yeah, that did. Although actually, I believe that scene was in the theatrical cut as well. But you're right, the scene definitely adds a lot of background. I mean, I have to say that there's a lot of emotion for this film as well. Like Jake's story, how he just wants to walk, he just wants to be free, like he wants to feel free. And I love the scene when he goes in his avatar the first time and he runs through the field, and he's so happy. And I think the music for that scene is awesome.
This is great.
Yeah. And when he says, "Oh yeah, this is great," he's just enjoying it, and he's enjoying learning the culture and he falls in love with the Na'vi and their culture, and it kind of takes him by surprise. And his dilemma, he's got to make a choice. He's got to choose whether to stay with the Na'vi and obviously, be with the woman he loves, or does he stay with his own race and fight for the humans who want to survive.
If I was in his shoes, I'd pick the Na'vi any day.
Yeah, and obviously he can see after, he can totally see why Grace is with them. Grace has made her choice. She's with the Na'vi. And, Jake can see that she's right. The Na'vi are the better option, because all they want to do is live peacefully. They don't care about the unobtainium. They don't care about it. They just want to live. So there's no reason to destroy them. So and by destroying them, it's taking it too far. Like, they should just be allowed. I mean, the RDA should just be allowed to take the unobtainium and then go. But obviously there's a conflict, like, because they believe that the Na'vi are savages, but they're not. They're just protecting their land. They don't understand what the humans are after, and there's a great scene when Jake is explaining that, I was sent here to learn your ways so that I could bring this message to so you would believe it, so they could take the unobtainium. And I thought that was a great scene. And Neytiri says, I trusted you. Why? Just, you are never be one of the people. That was great. I forgot to mention another character, Norm. I like Norm. He's basically a nerd. I guess that's the best way to describe him. Also, he's another character who's jealous of Jake, because he wanted to be the chosen one, essentially. I mean, there is a kind of cliched element of the chosen one story, but it works, I guess. But it would have been nice if they didn't take a predictable route. Like when the little flower things emerge around him, and the whole idea of like Awa is interesting, like the Na'vi's sort of like religious faith and beliefs, and I thought it was done very well. And Cameron's definitely spent most of his life trying to, envision this, and it's amazing. There is simply nothing else like it. Even if I have some minor problems with it, like some of the characters being forgettable, again, some of the dialogue is cheesy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like mainly like some of the lines. Well, like Quaritch, some of Quaritch's lines are cheesy. Again, it's not bad cheesy, but it's just like, what, really? You didn't need to say it like that, but okay. And also like Jarhead Clan, he was like, I'm trying to think what lines that Quaritch says. These dumb bastards ain't getting the message. I want this mission high and tight. I want to be home for dinner. Like all of that stuff. It's like, no, Cameron, just. Yeah,
that is one big damn tree.
There's one big damn tree. Yeah. What the hell have you people been smoking out there? They're just goddamn trees. And when Jake says, I really hope this tree hugging crap isn't on the final. It's come on, Cameron. Just enough of the cheesy dialogue. Yeah, check it out. Crap. Oh, come on. Stop with the cheesy dialogue. But it is only a minor complaint. I love the music. The score by James Horner is amazing. I mean, there's nothing else like it. He managed. I mean, Cameron said to him, like, I want you to create something that's sort of kind of like tribal, but also very human, but also very alien at the same time. So it's kind of contradictory in that sense. But I think James Horner created the sound of Pandora, and it's wonderful.
How are the sequels going to top this soundtrack?
Yes, especially as James Horner is sadly no longer with us. Rest in peace. That is a real shame.
Hey.
Oh, hi, Lee.
Hey, sorry for joining late than what you guys expected. But how's life with you and Harry? How's life, guys?
Yeah, good, thanks.
How about you, Harry?
Fine, thanks.
Cool. I'm just wrapping up on Avatar, and then I'll hand the mic over to you, Lee. Have you?
I've never seen Avatar. I've seen Titanic when I was 7, and it fucking scares me.
Okay, well, I'll let you talk about it in a minute.
It's so sad.
Yeah. So I'll pass the mic over to you in just a sec. Excuse me. Before I lose my voice, I'll wrap up. So yeah, and I love the ending as well. How Jake chooses to stay with the Na'vi. The humans go back to Earth and basically try and reform it. Grace's death is very sad when they try and heal her. That's very moving. Again, as Harry said, the speech from Jake is really awesome. How Jake emerges as like a true leader. He becomes much more courageous. It's interesting how his background is that he was from the military. He was as a Marine. So essentially, Jake was a little bit like Quaritch in his earlier days.
Yeah, that's what makes Jake and Quaritch's relationship so deep. Jake is everything that Quaritch should have been.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, Quaritch has no mercy, but Jake does. He actually cares for people, whereas Quaritch doesn't. He doesn't care about anyone other than himself. I mean, I think that final fight is awesome as well. Like, the final battle is epic. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's the best battle in any movie I've ever seen.
I mean, I can't quite compare it to the likes of like Lord of the Rings. I mean, that is pretty awesome. But for this movie, I mean, obviously we knew it was kind of building to a battle, so I thought it was pretty awesome. And it shocked me when nearly all of the characters died. I was like, oh my god, they really are killing off everyone. I mean,
this battle is actually similar to the Battle of Endor from Return of the Jedi. I think this battle is far superior because the Na'vi actually face a challenge. The Ewoks face no challenge.
Yeah, we'll leave the realm of talking teddy bears for another hangout. But yeah, like when they all die, like Sute falls to his, well, we assume he falls to his death, but he'll get his death scene in the extended cut. When Trudy dies, that's quite sad. I like her character. She's like, I think she's what Jake wants Quaritch to be like just a military person, but someone who doesn't just kill, you know, blindly. And I like how she kind of changes sides as well. Like when she says, "I didn't sign up for this shit," and she just turns away. I thought that was awesome. And then she obviously breaks them out of prison, which is good. Norm's avatar gets shot, which is interesting. So Norm sort of dies. His avatar dies, I guess. And then obviously, who else dies? I think that's it in that scene. The bird, Natiri's bird dies, which is sad. And it's, I mean, Cameron directs really well as well. Like, he really knows what he's doing. He's brought this vision to him from, you know, since he was young. He's had it in the back of his mind. The 3D for this movie is amazing. Literally, it's the only film that I would actually want to watch in 3D. I actually don't mind that the film is 3 hours long. Well, the extended cut is. And I also love the scene in the extended cut when they're hunting those rhino things. I thought that was awesome. That was a great scene. I think Avatar, it has also a lot of emotional weight. When the tree gets destroyed, the home tree gets destroyed. That's pretty amazing stuff.
Oh, that's devastating.
Yeah, my mum nearly cried at that scene, actually.
Oh yeah.
And even when it was on TV, my mum said, "Oh, this is so sad." I was like, "Yeah, it is. They've lost their home and everything." Yeah, I think it takes its time, like with Jake learning everything, but I think it works like really well. Like the pacing is amazing. When Jake flies the bird and Natiri flies her bird for the first time, that's awesome. There's just so much to love about this movie. Why don't I love it more? Well, as I said, my only problems really with this movie are some of the characters are a bit forgettable, and I think some of the dialogue is a bit cheesy. It's not the greatest. I don't think Cameron is the best screenwriter ever, but he's a very good writer. I think the plot it was as original as it could be. I think, yeah, there are certain cliches, but none that really damage the story for me or make the story completely unoriginal. There's a lot of originality here for me. Yeah, I mean, obviously some people felt that it borrowed too much. One other criticism I would have is, what the fuck was with the sex scene? Why? I mean, they even extended it in the extended cut. Why did they do that? It just wasn't necessary.
I disagree. I feel it was necessary to show the true extent of Jake and Natiri's love for each other, and it's not a kids movie, so you can show it.
Yeah, I mean, the true extent of his.
It's not. It is sausage party.
It's nothing on that level. Trust me. But yeah, but overall, I mean, those are only the main things I have with Avatar. The song by Leona Lewis, I think, is great. I See You. I think again, it may be a little bit cheesy, but I still think that it's very good and it's fitting.
Yeah, it was robbed of an Oscar.
Yeah, I actually prefer it to this Celine Dion song, and I'm not going to apologize for that opinion. And I give this movie a slight edge over Titanic. So I think I need to re-review it. I mean, everything is wonderful here, other than those couple of minor flaws. So I'm going to score Avatar again a very strong 9 out of 10.
Oh, okay, and not a 10, but still great.
Yeah. And now I'm going to wheel this meat out of here. Another cheesy line. So I'm going to now pass the microphone to Lee, who's our other guest. So Lee, I know you haven't.
I can't say for Avatar. I've never seen it. Titanic, I saw years ago. It's terrifying. It's terrifying, honestly, because it's based on a true story. Oh God! Like, to be honest, I think it's overrated. I don't know. I don't want to die.
I was just going to say for the viewers that you haven't actually seen Avatar, so you will only be commenting on Titanic. So, what do you think of Titanic overall? Like
I said, I think it's scary. Honestly, it's sad. Like, I mean, I was shocked when it was based on a true story. Like, Jesus.
Yeah. Well, mostly anyway. Other than the fictional characters.
Yeah. Well, stuff of it exists, but Jesus Christ, it's just like when people die, it scares me. Not in movies, I mean in real life, because this is based off real life.
Yeah. Well, death is a hard part of life. It's it's one we don't like to. I mean, we've all experienced it. I've had people in my family who've passed away. So I've experienced.
Yeah, same here.
Like about 10 years ago, I experienced one person in my family who passed away, and that was the first time it really had a shock to the system.
So yeah, Ollie, I just want to say you're a great friend.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's just hard for me to move on, honestly.
Can I just say, before we continue this conversation, we're still live, so let me wrap this up. Let me just wrap this up, and then we'll carry on. So,
all right.
Unless there's anything else you guys want to say about Avatar and Titanic, I'll close this off. Harry, is there anything you want to say?
Don't you agree, Ollie? That's the most amazing moment in the Battle of Pandora is the Awa has heard you scene, where all the creatures rebel against the RDA.
Actually, yeah, I would agree with that, because then the creatures come out. It looks as though there is no hope. That's the comeback moment. That's where all the creatures come in, and I mean, after all the people die as well. It brings that out that there is hope, because earlier on we see Jake actually pray for for some help, during the battle. So
yeah, if Jake hadn't have spoken to Awa before, then the Navi would have been fucked, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's pretty much it. So thank you guys for joining me on this hangout, and stay tuned for more. So I'm MrTardis11. This is Harry Thomas and the Dragon Critic. See ya.